What's up, everybody? It's AT. In just one moment, I'm about to tell you why this guy right here, Coach Prime, just pulled off what I believe to be the single most important transfer portal commitment that he has gotten this offseason, which is saying something. He has gotten a lot of commitments. We're going to discuss that in just one moment, as well as what is the ceiling for Colorado going into 2024, because I think it's going right on up. Before we get to it, though, quick reminder, if you are not subscribed to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel, make sure to go ahead and subscribe. New videos every day. We just crossed 31,000 subscribers. Cannot thank you all enough for your support. I think we can get to 35K before the start of 2023, but we can't do it without your support. Appreciate everybody. If you're not subscribed, please make sure to do so. With that said, let's get to this guy right here, Coach Prime. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to take off the hat. It is so warm and it is so comfortable. I'll tell you how you could get one later on. But it is so warm and so comfortable. I don't want to start sweating here during this segment here, but I'll just be blunt here. It's Tuesday night. The show was done. I was ready to relax. It's Christmas time. I'm like, oh, I'll just sit around, watch Home Alone with Mrs. AT. We'll have a good time. Maybe pour myself a nice little cold beverage. And then I go on social media. And I think this might be the single most shocking commitment that Coach Prime has gotten yet in the transfer portal, as Samuel Okunloa, a defensive lineman from Pittsburgh, one of the best defensive linemen in the transfer portal. That's right. On Tuesday night, had offers from Florida State, had offers from Washington. You may have heard of them. They are in the college football playoff. Offers from Missouri, Miami, where his brother plays. Oh, no. He says, I am going to Colorado, and I'm going to play for Coach Prime. And so we've talked about all these big commitments, but let me just start by saying this. I think this is one of the single most important commitments that Coach Prime has gotten this offseason, and I want to go ahead and break it all down right now and talk about what it means for the 2024 season. So first off, let me just say this. This is a very talented player. When this kid hit the portal, right, there's, listen, hundreds, literally thousands of players hit the portal every single year. This was a kid that when this kid entered the portal, it kind of made you sit up and, kind of just look around and say, whoa, wait a second. This is big. This is a kid who played at Pitt the last 2 years. You can like Pitt, you can hate Pitt, but Pat Narduzzi is a great defensive coach, and he was a dominant player as a young player at Pitt. 6'4" defensive end, 5 sacks this year, 6.5 TFLs, 1 forced fumble on a team that really had a largely disappointing year. This guy was as good as anybody, and he was a really, really, really good defensive lineman in the ACC. So he enters the portal. As I said, he has offers instantaneously from Florida State, from Washington, from Missouri. Eventually, he stops even posting them. His brother plays at Miami. I think there's a lot of Miami fans that thought he was done to the Hurricanes. Instead, he ends up with Coach Prime at Colorado. So first of all, I think this speaks to two things that I have talked about all offseason long here on this channel as far as Coach Prime is concerned. Some people love him, some people hate him, but what I hear in the background right now, I hear the tears of his haters, because this one has to sting, and it's for two reasons. One, I keep saying it. Listen, this is no disrespect, but you go back to last offseason, okay? Coach Prime took 1 million kids in the portal, and I get it. The roster that he inherited was awful. It wasn't just bad. It was literally the worst team in Power 5 college football. So he comes in, I'm bringing my luggage, it's Louis, whatever. But he brings in a lot of guys, a bunch of new players, and bluntly, this is no disrespect to most of them, but a lot of those guys just were not good enough. He needed bodies. He kind of cleaned house. And then when you start to rebuild that infrastructure, you need new people. You need new bodies. You need new players. But I don't know how many of them. There were some. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Jimmy Horn. You go on and on down the list. There were some that certainly could have gone anywhere, played for anybody. But the number of guys that were real difference makers that everybody wanted, they were few and far between. Now you look at this offseason, it is a completely different deal. Besides the fact that tomorrow is National Signing Day, by the time that many of you listen to this is National Signing Day, and he's got a lot more players that people want in the high school ranks. Also, from the transfer portal perspective, this just confirms everything that I've said. Go ahead and look at the players that he has gotten out of the portal this offseason. Will Shepard, the wide receiver from Vanderbilt, could have gone anywhere, was maybe the top wide receiver in the portal. He chooses Colorado, okay? Quincy Wiggins, the defensive lineman from LSU, former top 50 player, was a projected first-round type talent out of high school, goes to LSU. It doesn't work out, but he chooses Colorado. Khalil Benson, the offensive tackle from Indiana, could have gone a lot of places, chooses Colorado. Samuel Okunlola, I'm telling you, this kid offers from Florida State, offer from Washington, offer from Missouri. These are real programs with real aspirations and real talent in that building. And Coach Prime goes ahead and gets these guys. So one, he's getting guys that people want. And I know a Georgia fan, a US, whoever, is going to sit there and say, you need a roster full of them. I'm not saying that it's a finished product. But what I am saying is the talent level is increasing day by day by day. And then I think what's equally as important, and it's something we've talked about on this channel, he's getting not only guys that he wants and really talented players, but he's getting them at positions of need. We've talked about this a ton, but he talked about this a few weeks ago. He said, we need to get better along the offensive line and the defensive line. We need to be able to run the ball and stop the run better than we have. We were not good enough in either category last year. And so you look at the first weekend, the focus, offensive line. I think it was 4 offensive linemen in the first weekend. I know they got the Matthew Bedford kid who eventually flipped to Oregon. I get that, but he takes care of the offensive line. And then the last couple weeks, it's been defense. It has been Quincy Wiggins, as I said. It's been Keaton Wade, the linebacker from Kentucky that I know for a fact Kentucky desperately wanted to keep. And then again, Samuel Okunlola from Pitt on Tuesday night. And so I'm so excited. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to be controversial, and all the Colorado haters are going to say it. The tears of Colorado haters, the tears of Coach Prime haters, they're all falling down the cheeks right now. Here's the truth. This is a really good roster going into next year. Now, again, Coach Prime, the goal is to compete at the highest level. It's not Georgia. It's not Ohio State. It's not Michigan. It's not Alabama. I'm not saying that it is. But I've said it before. Go ahead and look at the Big 12 going into next year. No Texas, no Oklahoma. Oklahoma State was really good offensively, but bad defensively. Kansas State is going to be breaking in a new quarterback. Baylor was a mess. Who is that team that is unbeatable? Who is it? TCU? Oh, the team that Colorado won in Fort Worth to open the season? Stop. And so you look at this league. Who are the top teams? I think it's probably going to be Utah from the Pac-12, who Colorado lost to by 6 on the final day of the regular season when neither team had their starting quarterback. And also Arizona, who Colorado lost to on a walk-off field goal last season in Boulder. So those are the top teams. You already competed with them, and you are upgrading your roster. And I talked about this the other day, but let's start breaking down this roster. Tell me in the Big 12. And by the way, if there's a Kansas State fan or a TCU fan or an Iowa State fan that can definitively tell me that I'm wrong, please, I'm all ears. But look at this roster right now as it stands. Tell me the spot where they are completely inferior to somebody that they're going to play. Quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. He's going to be the top NFL draft prospect in that conference. Bar none, whatever. It's the truth. Beyond that, running back, Dylan Edwards, former 5-star or 4-star, committed to Notre Dame, decommitted, goes to Colorado, was awesome when he actually had running room and running space. He's back. Alton McCaskill was all AAC at Houston. He was injured this year, tried to play, didn't. He's the big back they were desperately missing. At wide receiver, I'm just going to name some names. Will Shepard from Vandy. I think he's as good as anybody in this conference at the wide receiver position. Jimmy Horn, super dynamic this year, almost 60 catches for Colorado. He's coming back. Travis Hunter, you may have heard of him. He ain't going to have to play 120 snaps a game because you got some help at wide receiver. Cordell Russell, former top 50 prospect who played at TCU last year. Draylon Miller, an elite prospect who was committed to Texas A&M. And then Amarion Miller, who I mentioned on the last video, really a rising star at the wide receiver position this past year. Keep it going. Other positions, offensive line. It's not perfect, but it is improved. Jordan Seaton is going to Colorado. Khalil Benson, the kid from Indiana, going to Colorado. Tyler Johnson, the kid from Houston, going to Colorado. So the offensive line is improved. And then you get to the defensive front. Quincy Wiggins, Sam Okunlola, linebacker Keaton Wade, I just told you, from Kentucky. And then, of course, the defensive backfield's as good as anybody in the Big 12 for sure, maybe in college football. Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, Cormani McClain in year 2, Cam Michael, one of the elite high school players that's signing. And so I could go on and on. But the point I'm trying to make, this is starting to become a team. It's not just Shedeur. It's not just Travis Hunter. It's not just hype. It's not just incitement. It's not just we need to score 40 points a game to win like we did in week 1 against TCU. I'm telling you, this defense is getting better. The O-line is certainly better. And lastly, I can't wait to see what's next. Because guess what? Tomorrow's National Signing Day. It's about 9:30 as I'm recording, probably about 10:30 by the time you guys listen to this. But something's going to happen on National Signing Day. Coach Prime can't go to a National Signing Day without causing some chaos, okay? Got Travis Hunter 2 years ago, got Cormani McClain this past year. Something is going to happen on National Signing Day, so keep an eye out for that. And then the portal. I don't think any player is out of bounds, not for Coach Prime. He's getting guys that Florida State wants from LSU, you go on and on down the list. So I'm so excited. I think this team has a chance to be really good. And I think that's it. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go watch Home Alone. Going to go maybe finish this little beverage, maybe get me another one. And just a quick reminder, you want one of these bad boys right here? Go ahead, click the link below. By the way, we got some white ones too. Let me grab a white one for everybody. Here we go. We got the white Coach Primes. We got the black Coach Primes. Check them out. Appreciate your support. Coach Prime's the real deal, man. It's going to be a lot of people that are very upset next season.